Doggo. Don't feel like it was quite the most instrumental thing, but clearly struggling to get pressure on it. Now here, BLG did ban Renata. Viego is open in this situation, so we'll see if they opt to ban away the Lucian now that we know they don't have that Ezreal Karma to pick into it.
Okay, well, would make sense. Even the lane last time around didn't go super amazingly, but you're right. No Ezreal available. And BLG get rid of Renata again.
This should be a Lucian first pick for Ultra Prime, and they will go for that. So now BLG, they don't have the Ezreal Karma, they don't have the Callisto Renata, they don't have those things we've seen picked into. Well, I mean, we've seen Callisto Renata a bit. We've seen specifically in game 1 the Ezreal Karma. So there is also some other picks that have been left available. Viego is now on the cards. I could see them picking that up for WeiWei. I know the Graves is obviously fantastic, but why leave open such a powerful jungler? Something that has also been picked into the Lucian Nami is Lulu Cog is something. Aphelios Lulu is also something. It's when like the Lucian dashes in for the short trade. If he gets polymorphed, if he gets rooted by the Gravitum, you have the DPS with an Aphelios to shred through him, so it does make things a bit precarious. We'll see if they lock in the AD carry here. Honestly, I think you could leave it and take a jungler. For me, in my mind, the Viego makes a lot of sense. You know, we have the Wukong band away, and those two have kind of been traded off, so they will take that. And now for Ultra Prime, Nami is certainly going to come in this rotation, so it doesn't get banned, and probably a jungler to match the Viego. Otherwise, they risk going to second rotation.
Okay, well, see that Nami come through then. I'm glad you pointed out the fact that they couldn't leave the Viego open, and WeiWei picks it up, so expecting big things from him after the first game. As you were saying, rotation from Ultra Prime's there. Now my biggest curiosity, Aux, is that AD carry, because you mentioned the Aphelios, but of course, I want to see something that works so well with the Lulu, and that would be the kog'maw, which we haven't really seen that much in the LPL so far.
Yeah, we haven't had much of a window, but I think this is the time. So obviously, I've talked about this a lot, but Lucian Nami, you dash in with the E on you from the Nami, you do your full combos Lucian, a lot of burst, but after that, you kind of just left auto attack and you have long cooldowns early. Cog Lulu, the Lulu can buff the Cog, and you can either give him the W buff or you can polymorph the Lucian, both work, and then kog'maw will just shred you. He will just has enough damage in the tank to 100-0 you. So that's why this matchup can be quite delicate for the Lucian Nami. And clearly Doggo and Chris feel confident, so they will take this one. But now both teams have picked the bot lane and jungle. We're looking at other lanes. Alessandra ban, Telegraphs and Ari ban by Ultra Prime, as that obviously is that counter. We'll see what other directions they can go. Something to note, LeBlanc was banned in game 1, and it is now open and available for FoFo.
Okay, well, things like the Swain that he picked up in game number 1, yeah, right on the board there. We get Lissandra, Ari banned away. I'm trying to think what else, because...
Talia?
Yeah, Talia, well done, well spotted. Cryin has been playing pretty well. Even the Weaver's Wall last game was exceptional, and Galio taken away from him is a very Cryin champ. And also, I just realized, of course Cryin's playing Talia. He loves playing outside the lane and having a bit of a semi-global presence. Like, of course he plays it.
That's why I found it a bit weird that they sort of did that. But ultimately, you know, BLG have choices here. They can go for the mid. That would kind of be the standard play. You get a strong blind. It could be the Talia. It could be the Swain. Or you could opt to go for a top laner for bin if there's something you want to prioritize. You could, you know, go in the direction of like the GP or the Kale if you feel like there's nothing open to counter it. You could go for the Gnar as well. Or you can leave the counter pick for bin. I know a lot of people in the minds will think counter pick for bin is better, and BLG opt the same, but they did have those choices available. So now TF, I think matching with Talia, Cryin had a good performance on it, and obviously can match those roams, makes sense. And now Zoom for his blind pick. What's he gonna take up here? Looking at maybe the Sejuani, and he will lock it in. So we've seen that a lot in Korea. In fact, I've seen it play 2 games today. We only saw it in the LPL. I think we saw it top lane. We definitely saw Tarzan in the jungle, but apparently this has been a rising thing, playing that top lane Sejuani. Especially with a melee jungler, so you can easily proc that passive, could make things difficult for bin.
It was ShiauC from TT. The irony is that he used to play behind Flandre, who would have it as his own little pocket while on EDG. So we see our second game of it in the LPL. Going to be matched here with the Gangplank Aux. So we get a lot of global pressure from BLG, or semi-global, call it what you will. Pressure that is all about bot, right? It seems simple.
Yeah. So I kind of prefer the BLG composition again. I think the TF really good at covering your side lanes, because as much as Talia can match on the roam, she's a lot slower to get there with the Weaver's Wall. TF just appears instantly. That stun card, a really powerful one as well. Great single target lockdown. And then kog'maw can shred whoever you've locked down. And then Viego can get the resets. I love how BLG's composition works. The scaling is excellent. And also, if you look at the lanes, like Lulu's a good matchup into Lucian Nami. The Gangplank into Sejuani should be able to free scale. And what's Sejuani's greatest strength? CC, you have the oranges. So I think BLG are once again in a comfortable position. It comes down to Ultra Prime having a strong early game. If that mid jungle can win out and transfer the pressure bot, that could see a win for them. But we saw how dramatically that failed in game 1.
I mean, even if we get to, you know, 20, 25 minutes at an even game state, Orcs, like this time around with Lulu Cog, with Gangplank, it feels like there's a lot more elements in play that make it so much harder for Ultra Prime. And, you know, game 1 was taken over by junglers. It was taken over by WeiWei and his early lead that was kind of given to him by Hacker. So I'm kind of curious as to how the adaptation comes through, because we are still on the same sides for these teams. And Hacker was so innovative with his gank path. I'm kind of curious to see, you know, that revisited again and trying to hit Doggo and Crisp down before they get up.
Well, I want to really see them bully out FoFo. Because if you shut down the enemy mid laner, you can make it difficult for TF to step up mid to contest prio. That's when you can give Cryin more freedom. And pre-level 6, Cryin has an easier time roaming because you get that extra movement speed from your passive against walls. So a bit swifter to get down to the bot lane. Also with the AoE, you're quite good at shoving the wave in. So if you hammer away at mid, maybe bring ShiauC up as well, get control of the mid lane, then you can start transferring that pressure down to the bot lane and shutting down this Lulu Cog. Because I think if you let them go uncontested, they will shred you. Now, interesting enough, Doggo, going for the Halo Blades. We normally see the lethal tempo. Obviously, this means, like, when you get traded on quite, like, swift trades from the Lucian who tries to get in range you and back off, you will quickly be able to match him. But obviously doesn't have as much ramping DPS over the course of a fight. But I'm really interested to see how this bot lane plays out. Elk and ShiauC left something to be desired in that game 1. But to be fair, Ezreal Karma did kind of harass them, keep them trapped in. Level 3 is where the Lucian Nami spikes, and it's all about how you play the trades, how you find the windows.
I just noticed Doggo is literally running the dog skin on kog'maw. You know, it's a subtle detail, but yeah, he's on theme right now. Well said. So I'm very proud of Doggo. Look, it's literally Doggo kog'maw for Doggo. I'm so proud of him right now.
It's the right call. I feel like I'm of course proud of him, but I would have been so disappointed if he hadn't gone for it.
True. I wouldn't have even thought about it, honestly, but yeah, again, on brand, it's amazing to see. Bottom lane really racing for level 2, and Doggo and Crisp have actually taken the bad end of a trade already. Crisp at half HP, but Doggo stepping up those Halo Blades you talked about, and the damage, as I almost choke on my own saliva, does pretty well at this early stage.
Yeah, level 1 is actually, I'd say...
Oh. Wait, Bin's flash forward for this onto Zoom. The solo kill, the Sejuani parlay. Bin not going to get the kill. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, level 2 hit first, and Doggo hurts. Elk is all the way back in his turret. The Lucian Nami lane as well. Orcs, that's 2 different lanes where BLG have just smacked hard.
100%. And the thing is, level 1, you could see ShiauC doing a good job of contesting. He took the sweeper so he could clear out the vision. That's why Crisp got chunked. But level 2 is where Lulu really spikes. Cool. Doggo can just be buffed up by Crisp and just charge forwards. And Nami Lucian needs level 3 before they can really contest. So you can even see Elk has the W, not the Q. Doesn't have the dash as well. So in a rough spot. But now Bin, no flash, gonna be punished here.
He's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Zoom might be a level down, but Bin's just hoping to get out of this one with a couple of minions under his back. A good Arctic assault, but Zoom setting up for the permafrost and won't need it. Hacker with first blood and punishing the over-aggression from Bin early on.
Good start, and this is kind of what we were critical of Bin for in RNG, over trading, playing like it's a 1v1 lane, not respecting the jungle, and we see Hacker find the window now. WeiWei's looking bot again. Dive so risky.
In this meta, in this day and age, it looks hard, but Elk's dead. Ignite down onto Crisp, and the turret stops. Well done from BLG.
Yeah, you have to have supreme confidence on execution there. But the main thing is Elk was quite low. Crisp takes aggro, very well orchestrated, and he flashes out before the next turret hit connects because it would have killed him. So very, very well executed. And this is kind of the thing I was hitting on when we first hit this patch. I don't think we'll see dives completely stopped, but when it's a little bit tenuous, they won't come in. But also, the teams who are good at dives will continue to be able to do so. And that has been what we've seen. There's definitely been less dives, but the good teams have found them. Now, Bin in trouble again.
Once more, bullying down this Gangplank. He's going to get permafrost, but Orange keeps him safe. Hacker's only level 3, though. He spent a lot of time up here. Bin level 4, so he's going to be okay for now. But just note what it means to be up in this top lane. He's got to kill Aux. But note on the other side that WeiWei is farming pretty nicely away and is currently a camper.
And this feels like such a hacker play, just to go for this heavy gank, not go to clear out your jungle and fall behind. And that's one of the things with the Gangplank, is that you have the oranges to clear that CC. I think, like, even if he didn't have that, probably would have been able to get away, but ultimately weren't able to find it now. Do see some heavy trade. This is where ShiauC and Elk feel more confident at the level 3, looking for those shorter trades. Still have to be a bit cautious if you get too close, though, caught by a polymorph or the damage from the kog'maw. Now there's Zoom really overstaying to try and get that plate with Demolish.
Yeah, won't find it. Gets a half HP. Bin's not going to be able to
Sorry,
trade
the prop
further
with
than that.
Demolish, obviously miles away
right.
from the plate.
Yeah, you're right. No, we understood what you meant. We're okay. We're okay. But
Gotta make it clear.
Look, you know, we've played League of Legends before. We kind of understand. There's that many names and mechanics in the game, to be fair. It's like casting, right? I say the wrong thing all the time, and people notice 10% of the time. It's just about being confident, you know, and letting it pass. I do it with skills, Orcs, you know. I call Frozen Tomb, Frozen Prison, and vice versa. You'll notice that.
Inferno trigger, Chrono trigger.
That's it, dude.
Today.
That's it.
Yeah, so often I'll start saying the name, and I'll just be like, oh, I don't even remember what the rest of it is, and I just say like, oh, it's Nami W. You know.
I literally say Tsunami, and it's not on purpose. It's an accident because it's in the name. It's a tsunami. It's a tidal wave, and you know it's so similar. So I feel like as a League of Legends player, of just honestly as playing Nami.
I don't even know which one. Wait, is the real one
the
tidal
ult.
wave?
It's tidal wave. Tidal wave's the ult.
Oh.
Yeah, tsunami.
Yeah,
is not it.
that's the thing. I feel honestly, I just thought it was tsunami. That makes sense.
It might still happen, honestly. Is WeiWei's bot. All right, let's focus in on this because
let's go back in.
because level 5 versus level 5, Hacker's down here to match it though, and Hacker has himself an Iron Spike whip, so he's a little bit stronger right now, and WeiWei pays respect with FoFo moving down manually with Destiny in hand.
And so far, I mean, Hacker hasn't made the bid clubs, so things are better, but we get BLG picking up a plate. We even saw both mid laners trying to roam down, and bear in mind, they now have that level 6 available. So Destiny there, the Weaver's Wall, FoFo's ult a little bit snappier. You instantly teleport there for that major impact, but you can guarantee Cryin won't be far behind. And to take stock, we didn't see that early pressure coming out mid. The kill top, nice for Hacker, but not really done too much to set Bin behind. And this bot lane trading has gone in favor of BLG.
And let's not remember well, let's remember this. Heal burn. That's what happened in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's remember what you're talking about in draft. Once again for BLG, timing in their favor. The game going slow is always going to work out for them because of what's set up here, Orcs, and how the game looks to be progressed, right? When we look at what Ultra Prime have built here once more, Lucian, Nami, big impact coming through if they don't find anything in this game. Cryin as well, and this Talia wants to start moving. We do have level 6+ on the mid laners as well, and so far at 7.5 minutes, there's only been a kill each, but there's been no roaming to the bottom side. There's no massive gold lead, massive impact in this game for either side yet.
Yeah, and I'll kind of be watching how those level 6s for the mid laners pan out, what useful value they get in them. One thing I do talk about is even if the lane doesn't go too well for Lucian Nami, the one-item spike where you have Mandate on ShiauC and Gale Force on Elk is really strong. The problem is Lulu kog'maw also matches. Like, one-item spike for kog'maw is pretty powerful, typically irrespective of what item he goes. Just that extra damage, the buff from the Lulu can go a long way. So I think Ultra Prime trying to find momentum elsewhere might be good. You can see they're making this swap up towards the Herald. ShiauC will move and Elk will be going bot just to hold. What could happen is BLG could look to reset and match. It looks for the timings, the fact FoFo's recalling, WeiWei's on the bot side. The play instead is just to go towards this bot tower, get some more damage. Could even look for the dragon. Actually, maybe the reset is coming in, but Hacker's already started this. They won't be there in time for sure.
Yeah, so Ultra Prime definitely feel like they're going to get this. You can see already towards the bottom side trading for the dragon. FoFo moving down as well, and Orcs, we've already seen one dive in this patch. And BLG pulled it off without a hitch. As Elk takes the Ignite and goes down to half HP, they're going to do it again. WeiWei has himself the Heartbreaker. FoFo's teleported behind, and Crisp is tanking up the damage. Elk's in a bit of trouble now. ShiauC's first to die, but Zoom's TP down with a reset and a Heartbreaker out. WeiWei does it again. Gold card here for Zoom as a Glacial Prison flies on out. The Ignite as well, but Doggo takes him down. That's the best Doggo more as FoFo lives. BLG 3 for 0. The dive impeccable.
Devastating for Ultra Prime. Hacker was getting the Herald, and instead of backing off the bot lane, Ultra Prime stayed. They're corralled in by FoFo.
Okay.
Oh, might find something.
Seismic Shove not going to connect though. WeiWei is the full HP member. Rough. They don't get anything. Aux, they literally don't get a thing. Hacker's still trying to stop the backs, but WeiWei sticks behind. What a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, they could look for a dive here onto WeiWei.
How strong is he, though? 2-0 with the Caulfield Warhammer. Cryin takes 2 turret hits. Hacker puts him against wall, Seismic Shove timed nicely, and that shutdown comes through in the nick of time. Hacker picks it up, and it works out finally for Ultra Prime.
They get a bit of an answer back, but it's still a massive loss for Ultra Prime. The bot lane put really far behind. You can see kog'maw working towards the Blade Rune King. That percentage HP damage combined with the percentage HP in his W will massacre this Sejuani and honestly anyone. We'll see the replay again. The towers do so much damage. Initially, BLG trade quite heavily in the bot lane and get them low. They go in here. FoFo has aggro, drops it here. And then WeiWei comes in, uses the ult reset to get away. Doggo, look how much damage that tower hits. It shows how scary it is, but they just don't take the hits. They use their range effectively, and then Zoom tries to look for FoFo. FoFo flashing away, surviving with the corrupting potion from the Ignite, and it's just such a massive win for BLG, and now they'll look to pick up this first dragon as well.
So let's do a little bit of a tally because it is a 1k gold lead at 10.5, sorry, 11 minutes here. First dragon is going to go over to BLG, so much like our first series of the night, we talk about delaying the soul coming through, making the game go longer, Orcs. BLG have successfully done that with the first dragon picked up, and also want to point out individual members and who's doing well. Doggo and this kog'maw, he's 20 CS up. He's got the Blade of the Ruin King well and truly on the way, as you were mentioning before. And on the side of Ultra Prime, the shining light right now seems to be Cryin. He's 120 CS. He's 30 up on FoFo. It really does feel like Ultra Prime are going to rely on this mid laner to get the ball rolling and give some steam to Ultra Prime.
Well, I think a big thing is FoFo, right? The fact he's moving. He has sacrificed a lot of farm. You saw Cryin there clearing away the enemy Raptors to really amplify the lead. So yeah, I agree. He's going to be a pivotal piece for them. But FoFo, this mid laner who we said was so much in his lane, not willing to move around, making the roams to bot lane, make things happen. Now he will be challenged heavily, chunked out by Cryin. Not having a fun time in the 1v1, but a proactive move from a player who we typically see not do it. Now Elk will look for the culling, not too much damage there.
Doggo. Thumbs up,
that
of
was
course.
The thumbs up.
Gotta do it.
And it feels like it's only a 1,000 gold lead. Ultra Prime definitely not out of the game yet, and it isn't as disastrous as that game one, but it is not looking positive. And it looks like zoning Bane away from the tower. They're gonna potentially throw the Herald down and look to secure tower, but it's for the Sejuani. Maybe not the prime target.
Yeah.
Giving that gold over to.
I mean, trading sides of the map, right? Like right now, what we see is the bottom side is paying the price for it. And I don't know what you put your chips in here, Orcs. The Sejuani top or the kog'maw Lulu in the bottom lane that is close to knocking down that turret. 2 bits of turret plating left. WeiWei may have left, but he's done enough damage to take away some of the camps and give more priority to this annoying Yordle duo. Now, my biggest question is kog'maw a Yordle? Is kog'maw a Yordle? No, he's not.
No, he's a void monster thing, you know?
He's a short void monster, I'm just saying. Same size as Lulu.
Not everyone who's short is a Yordle. Okay.
Right. We're getting, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. We're getting into dangerous
You can't
territory.
just like go around. It's like Annie's not a Yordle, she's a child, right?
Well, what's Zoe? Zoe's celestial, isn't she? She's 300 years old or something. But she's the size of a Yordle. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like you can't just assume everyone who's smaller than us. Like, Yumi's not a Yordle. Yumi's a cat. Or is Yumi a Yordle? I don't know. She's a
See,
cat.
now I made you doubt. No, it's probably not. Probably not. It's
You've
probably not.
ruined me. I was so confident, and now you're making me question everything.
No, you're right. You're on the page. Yumi's definitely not. But look, I'll take you aside from that because we've got first items on the board, and I really want to discuss how this game progresses from now. Because when I say first items, I mean first items for 5 members of BLG, 4 for the side of Ultra Prime. Oh, we're close for ShiauC. He's the one lacking right now. No Dragon up and available, but it's the Herald I'm interested in Aux. 50 seconds till it spawns. That'll be in about 15 minutes time in the game. BLG are getting real cocky in the enemy jungle as the tidal wave comes through and ShiauC unleashes but finds no target. And that should be up close towards the Herald spawning.
Yeah, a nice use of the Shurelya's from Crisp to get them out. And this is a great spike for... I've talked a lot about the Gale Force mandate spike for the Lucian Nami. But kog'maw, Blithering King, often one items for kog'maw really powerful. And the movement speed you're given by the Lulu with the W, the Whimsy, and the shield, obviously. I mean, they work... Both of them apply the Shurelya's movement speed boost. Just means you can run down targets. And I talked a bit before about how this kog'maw will shred that Sejuani. We kind of seen it already there.
Yeah, it has to use the Glacial Prison to get away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Elk and ShiauC looking for their own targets, but WeiWei wants to come back in. Aqua Prison, great, but the gold card's at the ready on top of Elk, and he cleanses immediately, jumps back in to trade off, but now Crisp is here. 3 versus 2, but the range is too much to gather. Doggo sits in the bottom lane meanwhile as well. He didn't bring himself to the cavalry, and means that Doggo should be able to pick himself up the wave, push it out, back away, start heading towards that second item with a 30 CS lead. Excuse me, math needs to be done. 25 CS lead over Elk at this point of the game, while Ultra Prime is going to be taking the Rift Herald, the second one to boot.
Yeah, should be able to secure this one fairly easily, and could end up just throwing it down mid to try and pressure that tier 1, so they can try and get prio on the dragon. The problem is, ShiauC, undoubtedly, if you recall now, you will get your mandate, which is, I think, what they're going for. I think they even try to give the cannon to ShiauC, although he might have actually missed it. But regardless, the goal is to have the mandate, that double 1-item spike. You can see even at the bottom left of your screen, 3 points in W for the lane, and then you start maxing the E for that extra power on the Lucian. So they have that spike, but the problem is you're late. You're late to be back on the map. So WeiWei will be able to start this dragon and easily take that one. And Ultra Prime, they look like they might be leaning up towards the top side, potentially looking for a Herald charge to finish off that top tier 2, sorry, because it is low already. So a lot of gold for Hacker and Cryin, but where's the wave?
It's gone. Been starting to clear him real quick. Level 11. Barrel timings are getting lower and lower. Trinity Force is picked up as well. Cannon Barrage even used. Cryin gets a good sizing shove. Flashed away from is the Everfrost, but the wave once again has gone and Cryin at half HP. But look at the rest of BLG. They're converging around the mid lane. They've got themselves a wave as well. And a good boy. They're going to be able to push this down pretty quick. Or not even attempt because Elk rocks up. But at the very least, still get themselves a bit more pressure on the map.
Yeah, you see the rest of Ultra Prime just collapse in to defend. Still have the Herald in pocket, can still throw it down mid and get the tier 1. Weren't quite able to get that top tier 2, that extra gold in, and didn't want to commit the Herald. I think the focus will be getting that tier 1 mid, prioritizing that. Now, at this spike with Elk, well, they're looking now.
The Glacial Prison misses over, it's onto Doggo. This guy needs help. He's going to get the wild growth, and that's a start. Ultra Prime healthy enough, but Doggo is at half HP. That ain't good. They're going to be able to clear the wave. Zoom steps up and won't be able to get
Herald Hacker. Like, just throw it down and get the tower. I feel like you're holding it for so long. Like, I guess maybe he's thinking we can get this without it, but that should have been the tier 1 gone. And now you're giving a chance to BLG to turn it around.
Heal the flash. FoFo wants his gold card, but doesn't connect. FoFo, he's out of range. WeiWei as well. And Elk has to burn his own summoner. Excuse me, that was only an E. So nothing burned.
Yeah, in the Gale Force as well.
Okay, well, now that the Gale Force down, maybe a bit more significant. Dodging away from the seismic shove. Everfrost used by Cryin too. We're just throwing stones quite literally at each other at this point. A-ramming for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just back and forth. No one finding a window. Ultra Prime still have the Herald that should secure them the mid-tier 1 when they look for it. The BLG are just trying to defend. Meanwhile, Bin is just catching waves. They now have thrown down the Herald. This should secure the tower, assuming BLG aren't able to stop its path, but blue card from FoFo won't do anything. And they finally get that mid lane tier 1. We'll see if they can secure it for a second charge.
Zoom's looking pretty ambitious here. Remember, the Glacial Prison's already up and available. Feels pretty quick, but BLG unable to stop the second charge. Get some damage off on the tier 2. And Ultra Prime back away. They're catching up in the goal, but it's still about 1,500 for BLG at 18 minutes in the game. And remember, we talked a lot about the scaling. if you're a viewer coming in, whether you're the first time coming from, I don't know if LCK is running still or not. It's getting pretty late here in the LPL, but we're looking, and we started talking, I should say, at how much this BLG roster scales. This game specifically, Aux, if I can get my words out. And anyone else could see that tuning in for the first time. We have Gangplank, we have Lulu. Aux, you talk so much about how this fight is going to be impactful for BLG the later game goes on. There's 2 dragons in BLG's pocket, and Ultra Prime might be catching up in gold, but their windows are fast approaching.
And I think what gets really scary for me is when TF has a rapid fire cannon, it's so hard for Ultra Prime because they're so short ranged. Everyone on this lineup is either melee or like Taliyah, Lucian. Lucian with Culling's a bit longer range, but that's not your full functional range. And it just means like you have to be in range of a gold card. And as soon as you get gold card, kog'maw will just pump autos into you. You'll probably go down. WeiWei will get a reset, and the momentum will carry forwards. You get the movement speed from Chris from the Chevaliers, and that should be how the fights are played out. So Ultra Prime have to be a bit more creative to find angles into their fights. And BLG are doing a good job of not letting that happen. Bin, while all the A-ramming was going on, he was going back and forth, clearing waves. You can see, despite not having the kill, he's got that bounty. And he does ult to try and clear the wave spot, but Ultra Prime once more looking to really heavily contest. But in the meantime, BLG doing a good job of playing the side lanes. I think while this ARAM's been going on, BLG have been very effectively getting resources on their solo laners.
Ooh, starting to do damage as well. Collector picked up. Cryin spotted over the wall. Seismic shove trying to be angled as Culling comes through again. They got Ben. He gets knocked back, chunked out. The wild growth used on the Gangplank. If the fight continues, Doggo will not have as much protection as BLG continue to try and defend, while their solo laner starts hitting away at the top lane turret.
Yeah, so we do see the push in coming from Zoom, and that wave's not being matched, and eventually enough pressure's put down mid for Ultra Prime to find that tier 2. So definitely a positive there. It just took a lot of time, and you can see BLG is up in gold as a result. The resources collected. Now, Ocean Dragon in 30 seconds. BLG already on 2. I think Ultra Prime definitely want to secure this one if possible. But look at Doggo's items now. It's the Blazing King, Ginsu's big spike, and the rapid fire on FoFo for that long range stun card. They're trying to force in. They want to fight this.
Destiny's already been used here to get into position. FoFo joins back in. 5 versus 5, but it's scattered. Bin behind enemy lines. EU fans, it's not quite there as Zoom gets his ulti, but it's only a slow one to Chris. The Glacial Prison now down the Everfrost, slowing down Cryin. So much CC, but the kickback. There he goes. The dog is down, and Chris can't keep him safe and sound. BLG with a numbers disadvantage, but look how ambitious they are. They want to go back in, but the gold card hitting Zoom, it does nothing. And Ultra Prime stands at the 5-man strong with Bin. He does it again. Oh, EU fans, I was wrong. It happens once more, but Ultra Prime, they're the ones that get bullied by it. And another GP moment as a flash forward. Everyone get low, but Bin survives. And the world tremors once more.
Beautiful barrels from Bin. It honestly felt like with Doggo down, that should be enough. FoFo keeps throwing down the stone cards, and then Bin finds the window to pop them. But now, TP coming in. This is Zoom, and Hacker is there as well.
And you really don't kill him. They're going to try and kill the Lee Sin first, but Zoom rejoins, and the Glacial Prison shortly will come off the cooldown to add into the fray. WeiWei slowed on down, and Zoom now regretting the choice. I guess there's not enough damage with Doggo, especially joining back in. Ultra Prime have to be careful with the dragon that still wasn't taken, which is what the fight was about.
Yeah, and you can see Lucian Nami coming in as well pretty shortly. TP comes in from Bin. Everyone here, Cryin can weave his wall to close the gap, but the fight's going now.
All right, FoFo joins in. Bin shortly after the culling doing work with the cleanse. He's immediate onto the dragon at 2k. Out goes Zoom, out goes Hacker, and out goes Ultra Prime, a 3-man, but the knockback is there. It's huge here as BLG are getting whooped in the fight. Hacker joins back in, and BLG are targeted for elimination. How did Ultra Prime take that?
What a redemption for Hacker, honestly. The Lee Sin getting a huge kick on a Doggo before, cleaning up in that fight. And honestly, I thought that was doomed. BLG got the dragon. Zoom got knocked over the wall by Cryin's Weaver's wall. It looked desperate, but they find the kills. And now they're on the Baron. But bear in mind, Bin is up. Doggo is up. Cannon Barrage up in a second.
Okay, well, Doggo doesn't have Chris by his side, though. So as the Cannon Barrage comes through, Bin wants to line the barrels once again. This Gangplank forces off a whole team off of Baron. Bin by himself told Ultra Prime to get lost.
Yeah, you can't do it with the magic resist shred. The ult is so threatening. The kog'maw ult's coming down as well. We get a replay of that fight. And Hacker finds this beautiful window. Sonic wave through the mess. Gets the kick flash. Doggo with flash doesn't get time to react. Instantly popped. And then it looks like it's going to be favorable for Ultra Prime. But FoFo keeps finding these stun cards on a target. It means they can't approach. They keep getting chunked out. And then Bin finds this window. The barrel combo on the bot lane. Flashes in to kill Elk. Beautiful play, and we expect nothing else from Bin.
I mean, we were laying into him at the start of broadcast, the weakest member of RNG, but there's always these high highs that we remember from this player.
RNG are a pretty good team. It's not too much of a negative to be the weakest player on that roster. And then this follow-up fight, Ultra Prime initially have to get out. They end up dashing away. And then watch, this is the moment I thought it was doomed. Watch the Weaver's Wall. It knocks Zoom in, but then the combo from Cryin does all the work. Zoom survives long enough to get the cooldowns, and look at Hacker flies in, clears up these low health members, but we don't get time for replays.
Yeah, we're going again. Elk caught out. The rest of the team are on the side. We come back from the replay, folks, and suddenly Ultra Prime lose their saving grace. Elk is 0-4, and now down a member with Baron in BLG's eyes.
Remember, Baron wasn't taken. FoFo flashed for the stun there and used Destiny. Elk with no cleanse wasn't able to stand up, but now 4v5, they have to try and defend this, and Bin is looking for Baron.
Yeah, he's in the brush, gets Hacker and Zoom. Might not be the most damage on the tanks, but it zones him off. FoFo takes a wild growth, and as Ignite ticks on down, he's getting close. He blows up. Zoom helps do the job with BLG with a numbers disadvantage again. Crispus used his ult on the wrong person once more, and Doggo without his support. The kickback. Bin. Revenge is a dish best served by a blind monk.
Oh, and honestly, I thought, we thought Lucian Nami was the combo. Taliyah Nami there. Cryin did so much damage, and we felt like BLG, once they got to the stage of the game, would have the momentum. Ultra Prime just flawlessly finding these fights. Zoom with the CC lockdown, Hacker with these kicks. This is the Ultra Prime we saw in the Fear series. This is why they gave us hope. And as game 2 was slipping away, as we felt like maybe this is going to be a 2-0, they come back, they're revitalized. They get the Baron, they're 3,000 gold up. Dragon Soul in a minute 45 if BLG can secure it, but I feel like Ultra Prime are feeling confident to defend. And after a horrific game 1, a huge jungle gap, Hacker 5-0-4 on the Lee Sin.
God, and 3-1 and 5 on Cryin. Let's give him a lot of respect. Game 1 had a good couple of Weaver's Walls. This game again, you're talking about the combo. He's on fire with these seismic shoves.
And look at the damage coming out constantly in this fight. You see like the mandate proc as well from Cryin, and the fact that he obviously easily reprocs it, applies with the Q, reprocs it again. And then look at Crisp just absolutely shredded here. Can't escape from the slows on top of that. And then Hacker again with another great kick. Ward hops over Bin. Can't get back after that one with no flash. The CC comes in from Zoom. And this is just so refreshing. I honestly felt so sad coming out of game 1. It felt like maybe we just overhyped Ultra Prime, beating OMG. OMG obviously struggled earlier today. But this is what we'd hope for. A revitalized team. A team that Zoom joined to step up. And now pushing with that Baron. BLG on defensive. Trying to find some potential windows.
I mean, looking for that pick. Cryin going to get locked down, but he's done it again. Better mid wins in this game as FoFo is sent to the fountain. Ultra Prime making a 5v4 once. Get a seismic shove! What is it with ex-RNG players and popping off in the second game? Been trying, but at the very least, it's Cryin's show now.
Now the wards cut them off.
He's looking for another one.
Find Doggo.
Seismic shove was close, Aux, but Ultra Prime, they got what they came for. It's a bottom lane inhibitor. The Baron minions help make short work of it. 5k gold lead just about, and a dragon to deny from BLG.
And I think we're seeing the power of this Talia. The reason this pick is prioritized, the damage that comes out, the consistent pick potential with the shoves, but also just launching the big boulders at them. So if anyone who isn't too clear on the update, one of the big changes they made was once you fire your Q on worked ground, you don't just fire one shard, you fire one massive boulder that does a ton of damage.
Yeah. And
Cryin is again just finding so much output in these fights. It's now a 4,000 gold lead for Ultra Prime. They've denied the soul by picking up that dragon. WeiWei does find Zoom, but they will just walk past now. At this point, TF isn't going to be as relevant in the later stage of the game. He still has that CC control, but there is cleanse on Cryin and Elk, which makes things difficult. But ultimately, I'm looking at Bin, I'm looking at Doggo. These two need to be the ones pulling the lion's share of the weight in these later team fights.
I mean, on both sides, I'm looking at Bin, and I'm looking at Cryin. As FoFo is in the brush, flashes over. Culling is there to meet him, and Gale forces into the wall, doesn't get much distance. FoFo, because of it, gets away. I'm not sure what's going on with this other mid laner, but that is why the story is about Cryin, about Bin, about RNG's MSI champions from previous years.
And this is just great use of Lucian Nami, what they want to be doing, finding those picks when people are out of position, the rapid fire there as well to challenge. Fortunately, El kind of misplays it a bit, the dash into the wall, not helping him out. But only Bin's cleanse, FoFo now losing the flash in return. Starting to get more items come out. I assume going to be next for Elk. We have the Gale Force for Doggo. So Kraken Slayer is obviously the high DPS mythic. Shield Bow gives those defensive tools, but really value in the mobility this offers. And when you've been found by Hacker's kicks before, I think it makes sense. Positioning on this cog going to be so vital in these fights.
So let me ask you about BLG scaling and what we talked about before. Ultra Prime have such a big lead now. They're so strong. At what point do we start shifting the narrative back to BLG and saying, well, it's too late in the game and Ultra Prime are running out of damage to impact this team?
I feel like the thing is, there's never a point where it's too late because you have pick potential. If you find someone out of position, Ultra Prime can just burst them. And as much as like GP and kog'maw can be real menaces later on, they're all squishy on the side of BLG. If someone mispositions, they will just die. So as much as I favor the scaling for BLG, you cannot ignore the threat of Ultra Prime at any point. There's no like guaranteed win point in this game, I feel. So that's why I feel like, you know, Ultra Prime are able to find these windows. Now Hack is stunned.
But not that much damage coming out. FoFo with the stun down, a seismic shove again.
Oh my lord.
Crisp has to ult the jungler. WeiWei is going back the way he came. And Ultra Prime full HP with Hacker the kick back onto Bin. There's no wild growth to help him out. Elk takes him down, and Hacker is unleashed. The Hacker man back behind the computer. Ultra Prime with another inhibitor, and they are making this look like a fun Game 3 ahead with BLG's back against their Nexus turrets.
Yeah, Super Minions coming in bot. They can try and end here, or they can reset for the Baron in 50 seconds. Looks like it'll try for the play and see if they can end. Can BLG defend?
Well, it's back Cryin with the seismic shove. Misses that one. The gold card comes through from FoFo, but once again, he's getting shredded to smithereens. WeiWei not doing too much. Is in the back line. Zoom is a massive fridge sitting on top of a freezer. This Sejuani cannot be killed, and Ultra Prime cannot be defeated. With their egos in game number 2, I'm ready to see what this explores to finish off this series. Ultra Prime 16-7 with a banging comeback in the second game. Show us what you got.
Oh, this was such an enjoyable comeback to see from them, and honestly, this is why we're excited about Ultra Prime. I really felt like coming into this series, seeing that game 1, maybe we overhyped them, maybe it was just that the opposition in their first series wasn't there, but they really put the pedal to the metal in that one. And Cryin, someone who, similar to Bin, was criticized as being the weakest player on his team on that MSI winning RNG. What a Talia performance, honestly. So well played, constantly finding those knockbacks on the Talia to just decimate the enemy team. And it felt like BLG just couldn't find windows in.
I mean, honestly, with BLG's performance in that game, you know, like in the early stages, we're talking about, okay, the strength of, you know, Bin surviving on his own. Doggo and Chris were getting through the lane quite nicely. But it was never this huge lead. It was always BLG playing super defensive and making sure they could get to that stage where they're on even turf. Okay, they can take a team fight. But Ultra Prime, some of these fights were incredible to watch. And yeah, Cryin had such a good performance on this Talia. Despite Bin, you know, giving us a bit of deja vu with his Gangplank
RNG members, man.
That's right, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, Hacker is my main one in this game, because game 1, I said it in the game, I said it after game 1, I say it again now, it was jungle diff. Absolutely, WeiWei just decimated him. But this one picks the Lee Sin again and delivers really well. And it wasn't even just like the early prowess, it was also those fantastic kicks he was finding in team fights to set up plays. One of the things that we kind of wanted to talk about coming into patch 12.10, more enchanters in the meta. How will LPL teams fare when you don't have primary engage on your support after so many splits of Leona and Nautilus just being so dominant? And it really can come down to other members of the team stepping up. Lee Sin is not like your traditional primary engage. Often you want more reliable champions like the Jarvan or even your Sejuani top, but Hacker was finding those windows, making it work. And onto those pivotal targets, the kog'maw and the GP, and you can see Bin, most damage in the game. He was one of the people the Hacker was able to hunt down on that pick.
I mean, it was crucial. It's what turned the game around, and Hacker's Lee Sin, something historically that has always been one of his favorites. And, you know, everyone goes, oh, every jungler can play Lee Sin. But for LPL fans that don't really go past this year or even last year, Hacker was on the Suning Super Team. Hacker had high expectations when that team of ShiauC, himself, I think we had, I'm not sure if we had Angel in that roster. No, I think it was Maple, Sword Art, and AD carry was SMLZ. And this team was so hyped up. And since then, Hacker's kind of been a former shadow of himself. So it is nice to see him back in the spotlight here, Aux, and you giving him praise. Of course, it was a multi-man